Hey Chills. What do you want? So we can't do this outside because the audio is too bad. We'll have to deal. So this is my Santa Cruz Nomad 4 and today we're going to film a bike check. So this bike is a large and it's a tan colour. It is a little bit smaller than my last bike. My last bike was an XL Santa Cruz, and to be honest I prefer this one. I'm about 5'11", not quite 6 foot, so this feels literally perfect. Like, I fit into it so well. The wheelbase is a little bit shorter than the last one, and it is 170 rear end and front end compared to the 160 and 165. It's full carbon front to back. Moving on to the parts, so up front we've got a RockShox Lyric RC 170mm. This fork is so good, I genuinely can't fault it really. So I've got 3 bottomless tokens in there, and I'm not sure about the pressure because I change it the whole time. I mean, generally as it goes, it's pretty hard. I also have the rebound pretty quick because I just think slow rebound can actually slow you down quite a lot, because when you're going through really fast bumps, you don't want it to sort of sink through and not be able to keep up. So moving on to the rear, this is a RockShox Super Deluxe R, and it's 170mm travel. It's so good. Like, it's got this piggyback on it that basically prevents bottom outs. Not quite sure how it works, but it does work. I probably bottomed it out once maybe, and I haven't actually got any tokens in there at the moment, but I'm sure I'll probably end up putting them in. All in all, suspension setup's pretty firm, and yeah, I think it's dialed. So moving on to the crankset, we've got a SRAM GX Eagle. So this has a obviously 10 to 50 tooth, 500% range, which I do use. You know, I do use the 50 tooth actually surprisingly often. It quite often just gets you up short steep hills, which there are quite a lot of in Surrey Hills. So up front I've got a 32 tooth chainring. So as you can see, the cranks, the GX cranks, they're alloy. They are pretty worn because I keep my feet really close to them when I'm riding, like when I'm pedaling as well. I quite like the feel of where the crank is, so I know sort of where my foot is on the pedal. And so it just means all the paint gets taken off. I mean, I can't fault the crank. They're not too long and they have nice clearance. I don't often hit my pedals or anything, but they are fairly worn. Attached to the cranks we have some Bergtech pedals. These flat pedals are just the best flat pedals I've ever ridden. I have had some DMR Volts, but I definitely prefer these. The pins are pretty similar on them, and they're much closer to the crank, which, as I was saying, I quite like. There's so much grip, but also predictability. I know that my feet aren't going to come off when I'm flying through a rock garden or, you know, mid-air doing a jump, and they're pretty battered, but then they would be. Quite often, I've actually snapped this rear mech, which is the only fault I've got with this drive chain. I mean, it's not even the hanger that snaps, it's the mech itself, and it's really quite annoying because basically when you're putting out a big power output and you're cranking really hard, it just goes, and I've done it twice now, but I'm not really sure why. Apparently I'm not the only one, but I've got them both back on warranty, so can't really complain, to be honest. No, go away, go away, go away. So moving on to the cockpit, we've got a Renthal aeffect stem. This is 50mm long and I really like it because it means it feels quite a lot like my old bike. Then we've got Renthal aeffect bars. These are 780mm wide and 20mm rise. On the ends of those we've got Santa Cruz Palmdale grips, standard grips that come on all their bikes, and then SRAM code brakes. I've had a few problems with the SRAM code brakes. They don't wear through the pads quickly, but in the wet they just lack a bit of power, and I'm tending to find that I'm going straight down to the bars whenever I pull them. I've got a RockShox remote lever for a RockShox Reverb Stealth. The wheels, I've got some E13 TRS alloy rims, which I think work brilliantly. They've got quite a wide internal rim width, meaning that the tyre has a lot of volume to it. And then I've got, as tyres, I've got Minion DHF on the front and Minion DHR2 on the back. And then they're tubeless setup. I've got about 30 psi on the back and about 28 in the front. Attached to those are Novatech hubs. These hubs are, yeah, really good. Love them. They have a really loud, obnoxious noise. So attached to the reverb, I've got a WTV Volt seat. Don't really notice it, don't really use it a lot, to be honest, but yeah. A couple of little nice touches to this bike. So we've got a pedal and spoke stick on the front and obviously a pedal and spoke mud guard. I actually really like the mud guard. They're surprising how such a little thing that's so easy to make and cheap can just improve your ride so much just by not having that initial spray into your eyes. We've got Unite red bolts, looks so sick and I love it. We've got a pedal and spoke top cap, which not many people have. I really like it. Just reminds you of, you know, where you came from, your local roots. So I have kind of battered this bike, to be fair, in its lifetime. I don't really like the look of Invisi frames because they don't really give the colour and look that I wanted on the bike, which is why I chose tan and not the glossy blue. And it's, yeah, taken its toll. I've got quite a few marks where the paint is wearing, but to be honest, I'm not so fussed. It's not like I'm going to sell this on anytime soon, so, you know, that doesn't really bother me. So things I like about this bike, I really like how light it is. For such like quite a big downhill orientated bike, it's about 13.1 kilos, and it just means that when you're either drifting into a corner or in the air, you can maneuver it really easily. So other things I like about this bike are just how quick it goes. You know, you accelerate it off the line, and once you're up to speed, it feels like a 29er bike in a sense, just that it can hold all its speed through everything. You go around a corner and you just ping out the other side going just as fast as you came in. So yeah, all in all, it's my absolute prized possession. I absolutely love this bike and hope you enjoyed the video.